beloved soul who has heard those words that pierce through your heart like arrows dipped in confusion. Precious daughter of light, whose dreams of love have been met with the devastating phrase, "I'm not ready for a relationship." I feel the tremor in your hands as you read this, the familiar ache in your chest that comes when someone you love tells you they're not prepared to love you back in the way your soul craves. You know that moment, don't you? When everything inside you wants to scream, argue, convince, or crumble into pieces right there in front of him. When your heart races with panic, because the person you've opened your soul to is essentially saying, "Not yet, maybe not ever." When every cell in your body wants to either fight for what you want or flee from the pain of hearing that you're not worth getting ready for. But tonight, Archangel Gabriel descends through dimensions of divine wisdom to reveal something that will revolutionize not just what you say in this devastating moment, but how you transform this apparent rejection into the most powerful invitation for authentic love you could ever offer. What you're about to receive isn't just a script to recite. It's a sacred transmission that operates on frequencies beyond human manipulation, frequencies that touch the deepest chambers of the masculine heart and awaken what he didn't even know he was searching for. Gabriel comes bearing the golden trumpet of divine communication to show you that when a man says, "I'm not ready for a relationship," he's actually standing at the threshold of his greatest transformation. And the words you speak next will determine whether you become the catalyst for his awakening or another casualty of his confusion. Tonight, you'll discover the exact words that honor both his truth and your worth, that create space for his growth while protecting your own heart, that demonstrate love so profound it becomes irresistible to the very soul within him that longs for exactly what he claims he's not ready for. Your stomach drops every time you replay those words in your mind, doesn't it? I'm not ready for a relationship. 5 simple words that carry the power to shatter months of hope, weeks of believing you'd finally found someone who could see your worth, days of imagining a future together that suddenly feels as distant as stars you'll never touch. You've heard these words before, maybe from different lips, but with the same devastating impact, and each time they land in your nervous system like familiar poison. I know about the conversations you have with yourself in the mirror afterward, searching your reflection for evidence of why you're not worth getting ready for. The way you analyze every interaction, every kiss, every moment of connection, wondering what you did wrong, what you said that made him realize you weren't worth the effort of preparation. Your mind becomes a detective investigating your own inadequacy, gathering evidence for a case that was never true in the first place. The exhaustion that follows these words isn't just emotional, it's existential. It's the bone-deep weariness that comes from repeatedly offering your heart to people who receive it like it's a burden rather than a gift, who treat your love like an inconvenience rather than a miracle. You've started to build walls around the tender places in your heart, not because you don't want love, but because you can't survive many more variations of "I'm not ready" without losing faith in your own lovability entirely. But what if I told you that every time someone has said, "I'm not ready for a relationship" to you, they were actually confessing that you'd awakened something in them so profound, so life-changing, that they were terrified of the transformation it would require? What if those devastating words were actually admission that you represent everything they want, but don't feel worthy of receiving? What if their not readiness had nothing to do with your worthiness and everything to do with their own deep-seated fear of their own unworthiness? Gabriel wants you to understand that you've been interpreting these words through the lens of rejection when they're actually revelations of impact. Every man who has told you he's not ready has been, in his clumsy, unconscious way, telling you that you're so powerful, so magnetic, so transformative that being with you would require him to become a completely different version of himself. And he's not sure he's brave enough for that metamorphosis. I am Gabriel, the messenger who brings divine communication across the veils of human confusion, and I speak through these words carrying the golden flame of truth that illuminates what has remained hidden in the shadows of masculine fear and feminine misunderstanding. I come to reveal the secret language that transforms "I'm not ready" from a death sentence for your dreams into a doorway for divine love to enter. Beloved daughter of infinite worth, when a man speaks those words, "I'm not ready for a relationship," he is unconsciously confessing that you have activated something within him that his current version of self cannot contain. You have awakened the sleeping prince within him, but he is still operating from the consciousness of the scared boy who learned that love meant losing himself, that commitment meant death of freedom, that vulnerability meant certain destruction. What you must understand with every fiber of your being is that his readiness is not a reflection of your worthiness. His confusion is not commentary on your value. His fear is not evidence of your inadequacy. When you truly grasp this divine truth, you will discover that you hold more power in this moment than you have ever imagined. The power to speak words that operate beyond his conscious resistance, words that reach directly into his soul and plant seeds of transformation that will grow long after your conversation ends. The response I will give you works not because it manipulates or coerces, but because it emanates from the highest frequency of love. Love for him exactly as he is in this moment, and love for yourself exactly as you deserve to be loved. It creates what we call in the celestial realms the sacred space of choice, where transformation becomes possible because pressure has been removed and authentic desire can finally surface. These are not words designed to make him chase you, though he often will. They are not strategies to make him realize what he's losing, though he usually does. They are pure expressions of divine feminine wisdom that honor both souls involved while creating the energetic conditions where true love can flourish if it is meant to, and where you remain whole and empowered regardless of his ultimate choice. Listen carefully, precious one, because what I'm about to reveal will transform not just this situation, but how you approach every relationship for the rest of your incarnation. The words you speak next will either perpetuate the cycle of anxiety and attachment that has wounded you in the past, or birth a new pattern of sovereign love that attracts only what is truly aligned with your highest good. Gabriel now unveils the exact words that transform devastation into empowerment, rejection into redirection, and confusion into clarity. These words, when spoken from the place of authentic love Gabriel is activating within you, create an energetic alchemy that changes everything about the dynamic between you. When he says, "I'm not ready for a relationship," you look into his eyes with the calm compassion of a woman who understands what he cannot yet comprehend about himself. And you respond with these divinely inspired words. "I hear you, and I want you to know that I appreciate your honesty. It seems like you need some time and space to figure out what you really want, and I respect that completely. I care about your happiness more than anything, and if being alone to discover what feels right for you is what you need, then I want that for you too. I hope that when you do find clarity about what you want, I'm still available to receive it. But I also want you to know that I'm someone who needs to be with a person who is completely sure about wanting to be with me. I deserve someone who doesn't have to think twice about whether I'm worth committing to, because I know in my heart that the right person for me will feel lucky to love me, not confused about whether they want to." Gabriel reveals that these words work like divine magic because they accomplish several miraculous things simultaneously. First, you validate his truth without making it about you, which creates immediate safety and removes all pressure. Second, you demonstrate the highest form of love, wanting his happiness even when it might mean losing him. Third, you plant the seed of scarcity by mentioning that you might not be available when he gains clarity. Fourth, and most importantly, you clearly state your standards and your worth without demanding that he meet them, which activates ancient masculine programming to pursue what is valuable and self-possessed. But Gabriel emphasizes that these words only create transformation when they come from authentic alignment within you. Your nervous system must genuinely release attachment to his specific choice. Your heart must truly want his happiness independent of whether it includes you. Your soul must really know that you deserve someone who celebrates the opportunity to love you, not someone who needs to be convinced of your worth. When you speak these words from this place of authentic empowerment, something profound shifts in the energy between you. He senses, though he cannot articulate it, that he is in the presence of a woman who loves him enough to let him go, and loves herself enough to require what she deserves. This combination is so rare, so powerful, that it often awakens clarity in him that he didn't know he possessed. Before you ever have occasion to speak Gabriel's sacred response, you must first align your inner world with the frequency from which these words derive their power. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing your awareness to settle into the truth that your worth exists completely independent of any man's ability to recognize it or be ready for it. Feel into the reality that you are not a consolation prize waiting for someone to decide you're worth winning. You are not a practice relationship for someone to figure themselves out with. You are not a space holder for someone's potential future readiness. You are a magnificent woman whose love is a gift that the right person will receive with profound gratitude and immediate recognition of its value. Gabriel wants you to understand that when you truly embody this knowing, you naturally begin to speak and act from a place that attracts only those who are ready to receive the magnitude of love you offer. Men who are confused about your worth simply don't enter your energy field, because confusion cannot match the frequency of certainty that emanates from self-possessed feminine power. This inner alignment doesn't mean you become cold or unavailable. It means you become so warm and available to yourself that you don't need to chase warmth from sources that are unsure about providing it. You become so committed to your own happiness that you don't need to convince anyone else to be committed to it. You become so ready for love that you only attract people who are equally ready to love you. When you practice Gabriel's response from this place of genuine self-love and authentic detachment from outcome, you're not manipulating anyone into wanting you. You're simply being so purely yourself that people either recognize your value immediately or recognize that they're not ready for someone of your caliber. Either way, you win because you remain aligned with your truth. If Gabriel's revelation has awakened something powerful within you, if you can feel the stirring of your authentic worth beneath any pain you've been carrying about not being ready worthy, write in the comments, "I choose my worth over his confusion." This declaration shifts your energy from seeking validation to radiating value, from trying to prove your readiness worthiness, to knowing that anyone who needs time to figure out whether you're worth loving isn't ready for the level of love you have to offer. When you write, "I choose my worth over his confusion," you're telling the universe that you understand the game has changed, that you're no longer willing to audition for the role of someone's girlfriend, that you're ready to be recognized and received by someone who knows a gift when they see one. This declaration activates dormant codes within your DNA that remember how to be magnetically attractive without being desperately available. Gabriel and all the angels assigned to your love story are watching for this moment of sacred choice, this turning point where you stop making someone else's uncertainty more important than your own clarity. Your willingness to choose your worth creates an energetic shift that ripples out into your entire romantic future, attracting experiences and relationships that match your new frequency of self-respect and sovereign love. Write it with complete conviction. I choose my worth over his confusion. Feel how this choice lifts the weight of his indecision from your shoulders and places the crown of your own self-knowledge firmly on your head where it has always belonged. Gabriel now reveals the sacred art of embodying this wisdom in real time, because knowing what to say is only powerful when you can speak it from the aligned frequency that makes it transformative rather than merely tactical. The preparation for speaking these words begins long before they ever need to leave your lips. First, you must practice loving detachment in small moments throughout your daily life. When you catch yourself anxiously checking his texts, pause and redirect that energy towards something that nurtures your own joy. When you notice yourself analyzing his behavior for signs of growing readiness, gently return your attention to your own life, your own dreams, your own beautiful unfolding. This practice builds the emotional muscles you'll need to genuinely mean Gabriel's words when the moment comes to speak them. Second, you must cultivate what Gabriel calls outcome independence, the spiritual state where you prefer the best possible result, but remain genuinely okay with whatever unfolds. Because you know, your happiness doesn't depend on any specific person's choices. This doesn't mean you become indifferent. It means you become so centered in your own worth that external circumstances cannot shake your fundamental peace. Third, you must fill your life with experiences, relationships, and activities that remind you of your inherent value outside of romantic validation. When your sense of worth comes from multiple sources, your creativity, your friendships, your spiritual practice, your contribution to the world, no single person's opinion of your worthiness, can devastate your foundation. Gabriel emphasizes that when you do speak his sacred response, you must resist the temptation to monitor his reaction or analyze his response for signs of whether it's working. The moment you start tracking his emotional shifts, you've left the frequency of authentic empowerment and entered the frequency of manipulation. Trust that your words have planted seeds in dimensions you cannot see, and focus your attention on tending your own garden rather than trying to control what grows in his. Now I will reveal the deeper layer of divine wisdom that most souls never access because they remain fixated on the immediate outcome with one person rather than understanding the cosmic purpose of these encounters. When a man tells you he's not ready for a relationship, the universe is actually orchestrating a sacred initiation for both of you, an opportunity for him to choose growth over comfort, and for you to choose self-love over external validation. Every time you respond to "I'm not ready" with Gabriel's sacred words from a place of authentic alignment, you are not just handling one situation. You are rewriting the energetic patterns that have governed your romantic life. You are teaching the universe that you will no longer accept less than you deserve, which means the universe must upgrade the quality of romantic opportunities it sends your way. But here is the most profound secret. The words I have given you work not because they convince him to want you, but because they convince the universe that you truly know your worth. When the cosmos witnesses a woman loving herself enough to gracefully release what doesn't serve her, it conspires to deliver what does. The man who told you he wasn't ready becomes either inspired to become ready through witnessing your self-possession, or he becomes the bridge that delivers you to someone who never needed convincing of your value. This is why, my beloved daughter, you must speak these words with complete willingness to lose him, because only in your genuine willingness to let go does the space open for authentic choice to emerge. If he comes back to you with newfound clarity and commitment, you'll know it's real because it wasn't coerced. If he doesn't return, you'll know the universe was protecting you from settling for someone who wasn't capable of appreciating the magnitude of love you have to offer. Either way, you win because you remain in integrity with your divine worth, and everything that flows from integrity serves your highest good. This is the ultimate victory, not getting a specific person to choose you, but becoming so aligned with your own value that only those who can match that frequency are able to access your energy field. Envision yourself 6 months from now, having fully integrated Gabriel's wisdom about your inherent worth and the sacred art of outcome-independent love. See how this future version of yourself navigates romantic connections, not desperately hoping to be chosen, but confidently allowing natural selection to occur through her own high standards and self-possession. This woman, who is you in your power, doesn't feel devastated when someone says they're not ready, because she understands that readiness is a prerequisite for accessing her love, not something she needs to create in another person. She doesn't take their confusion personally because she knows that confusion reveals their limitations, not hers. She doesn't try to convince or prove her worth because she's so certain of it that external validation becomes nice, but unnecessary. When you live from this place of sovereign self-love, romantic interactions become opportunities for beautiful connection, rather than auditions for your worthiness. You naturally attract people who are excited about your standards, rather than intimidated by them, who celebrate your self-possession rather than feeling threatened by it, who recognize your value immediately, rather than needing time to figure it out. The man who once told you he wasn't ready may indeed return with a completely transformed perspective, often amazed by his own previous blindness to your worth. Or you may discover that your elevated standards and self-respect have created space for someone even more aligned with your soul's deepest desires. Either way, You'll be grateful for the initiation that taught you to love yourself enough to require what you deserve. This is the miraculous gift Gabriel offers, not just the perfect words to say in a difficult moment, but the complete transformation of your relationship with your own worth that makes difficult moments opportunities for empowerment rather than devastation. As we prepare to close this divine transmission, Gabriel offers you one final opportunity to anchor this life-changing wisdom into your cellular memory. If you're ready to stop auditioning for love and start receiving it as your birthright, if you're ready to transform "I'm not ready" from devastating rejection into valuable information, write in the comments, "I am ready for someone who is ready for me." This declaration is your graduation ceremony from the school of romantic anxiety into the mastery of self-possessed love. When you write these words with genuine conviction, you're telling the universe that you understand. Your worth doesn't require anyone else's readiness to validate it, that you're no longer available for relationships that require you to dim your light so someone else can feel comfortable, that you're prepared to wait for love that celebrates you, rather than settling for love that merely tolerates you. Gabriel and all the angels assigned to your romantic destiny are watching for this sacred moment of choice, this turning point where you stop making other people's confusion more important than your own clarity, where you reclaim dominion over your own lovability, where you remember that the right person for you will never need time to figure out whether you're worth loving. Write it with your whole heart. I am ready for someone who is ready for me. Mean it with every cell of your being. Feel how this declaration aligns you with the frequency of love that seeks you as ardently as you seek it. Love that recognizes your worth immediately and celebrates the privilege of being chosen by you. As Gabriel's golden light begins to fade from this moment, but remains forever imprinted on your consciousness, know that you are not the same woman who began reading this message. Something fundamental has shifted in your relationship to your own worth, to the words, "I'm not ready," and to what you're willing to accept in the name of love. You now possess the sacred words that transform potential rejection into empowered redirection. But more importantly, you carry the inner knowing that your worth exists completely independent of anyone's readiness to recognize it. You understand that when someone tells you they're not ready for a relationship, they're actually providing you with valuable information about their current capacity to receive the magnitude of love you have to offer. Gabriel's final gift echoes in the chambers of your heart. The right person will never need time to figure out whether you're worth loving. They will see your value immediately, feel grateful for the opportunity to love you, and move toward commitment not because you convince them, but because their soul recognizes home in your presence. This is the love you were created to receive, and accepting nothing less is how you honor both your divine nature and your human heart. Remember that every day between now and this soul-level recognition is still sacred preparation. Do not waste these precious days making yourself smaller in hopes of being easier to choose. Instead, use this time to become so magnificent in your own self-love that when your true match appears, they will wonder how they ever lived without the light you bring to the world. Your worth is not up for debate. Your readiness for love is not in question. Your deserving of someone who knows your value without hesitation is absolute. The universe is conspiring to bring you love that matches the depth of love you have to give. Love that never requires you to wonder whether you're worth committing to. Until we meet again in the sacred space where souls remember their infinite worth and angels deliver messages of empowerment, carry Gabriel's light as a permanent flame in your heart. Let it illuminate your path from seeking validation to radiating value, from hoping to be chosen to knowing you are already divinely selected for magnificent love. The angels are with you. Your worth is within you. Your perfect love is seeking you. Until next time, may Gabriel's golden trumpet continue to sound the announcement of your sovereign worth and approaching romantic triumph.